Go and watch my short. Dr. Gabor said that there would be a huge increase in the rise of cancer in women, especially women of any indigenous cultures, okay? And this is linked to epigenetics number one, which means we inherited a certain amount of trauma from our mothers and from our mothers' mothers. And because the eggs that created us was inside our mothers and our mothers' mothers, that means that the things that they experienced that they never talked about, it's embedded in us also. On top of that, because we're women and because no one taught us about the metaphysical biological capacity of a woman to create a morphogenic field that will absorb the pain of others, we have become the problem solvers. We're the fixers, we're the nurses, we're the therapists, we're the ones that people come to when they need something, we're the ones that our partners come to when they are stressed out and needing to relieve stress. And like this was acceptable and this was considered normal for a long time. I am someone who's a parentified daughter. I had to grow up fast. I had to learn how to take care of children and do things for my siblings because my mother went through her own trauma with her mother. And I don't even know what trauma my mother's mother went through, but I know that she went through some trauma. But all of that is embedded in me. So even though my conscious mind does not know this, my physical body is holding the memory. So no matter how many supplements I take, no matter how many different diets I use, no matter how many detoxes I do, I find myself in this loop where either I'm not able to proceed spiritually, mentally, physically, financially, or I'm not able to achieve relationships where there's equal reciprocity. It seems like I'm putting in more effort than what I'm getting out. And I would find myself in these situations over and over again, and I couldn't figure out what was happening, what I was doing. In 2023, when I created that video and posted that video, I had no idea that I was going to be diagnosed with thyroid cancer at the time. But the messages was coming to me because it was preparing me for a diagnosis that I was going to have to experience myself. Now, thyroid cancer aside, having sickle cell anemia taught me how to navigate life with the chronic illness, chronic pain, and chronic fatigue that I feel every single day. And you may have been watching my videos for years and probably really didn't know how severe it was. You can only imagine what I feel like. On top of that, I've been living in mold damaged, water damaged buildings probably most of my life. I mean, when you experience poverty, of course, you're going to experience living in places that probably have some type of water damage. So I have mold toxins flowing through my body right now as we speak. And it's not something that I can approach quickly and use these quick fixes. And it's going to be a slow, gradual healing journey. Now, with that little bit that I just told you, I'm sure that you're probably like, wow, that's a lot on your plate. Yes, it is. But I am just the first of many. I will not be the last. This is becoming more and more common. Maybe it's not coming up on your FYP, but it's coming up on mine because the algorithm knows this is something that I care about because this is one of my soul's mission. I couldn't understand, overstand why I was attracting these situations throughout my life. And a lot of those situations was karmic. I was in a a situationship with a man for 10 years who now I look back and see like he did not give a fuck about me. He really did not care about me. He was lost in his own trauma, but the comfort that I provided because I absorbed pain and I was unaware that I was absorbing pain and I didn't know how to digest the pain. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know my value. I didn't know my worth. And all of those things led to a breakdown of my mental health. It led to a breakdown of my physical body. It led to a breakdown of my finances. And it led to a dark night of the soul that it took me years to come through. And that may not ever be, the last dark night of the soul that I experienced in this lifetime. But let me tell you, trying to navigate this by yourself, it's really hard. And this is why I create communities. Every 12 months, I create a community for women for us to get together, come together, and heal. It has been challenging for me to do that with what I have going on. However, learning how to be resilient by softening into life, learning how to take whatever life is throwing at me and turn it into a more gentle way of me responding to life has turned me into an expert at being able to take chaos and bring it into order and create sacred space for softening to happen, for true healing to happen, to learn how to truly relax for real. Look at the word relax and real, okay? It's in the word. And a lot of us don't know how to do that because you can't intellectualize yourself out of a lot of the statistics that Dr. Gabor Mate been talking about. Okay, he been telling us autoimmune issues, chronic pain, chronic fatigue. Most of all of these things are connected to epigenetics, nature versus nurture experiences, and people who don't know that the body is keeping the score of every single experience, even the ones that you don't remember. Your hips are a vault and they store memory of every experience. Your shoulders represent burden. Your spleen is responsible for processing worry. Your liver is responsible for processing anger. Your lungs are responsible for processing grief. Your thyroid health is directly connected to how safe you feel. And do you have relationships where you can be honest and be safe about how you're feeling without being afraid of the repercussions of that? Because maybe the person on the other end has their own traumas and doesn't have the capacity to receive you in a way where they can hold space for you while you're expressing your own pain. So men have been socially engineered to have emotional immaturity. This was done through music, this was done through religion, and this was done through the patriarchy, just to name a few. But also the chemicals masquerading as food threw off imbalances in the brain development, and also on top of that, heavy metals. And we can talk about how that got in us on Patreon or Substack. We're not gonna do that over here, okay? But I've talked about that a lot. And when I did WAP Wars, that's wounded ass pussy, okay? It's a war over it, okay? Wars have always happened over women because of the capacity spiritually that we have to walk in between realms. And because of this, we have been a place of comfort for so many people who didn't have the capacity to reciprocate the comfort that we were given to them, and that left us depleted. So, on top of having all the other things that I named, we're emotionally malnourished, though we may be more emotionally mature. And when you couple the spiritual activations with emotional dysregulation, you get a body and a mind that is really confused. And so things that you try to manifest will not manifest in the way that you hope them to manifest, because there are so many other energies inside of you, so many emotions repressed down in your hips, repressed into your liver, into your spleen, into your heart, into your thyroid, your pineal gland, your spinal cord, all of these different areas of the body. If you were a parentified daughter like me, maybe a firstborn daughter, you felt like you had to be responsible at an early age. And so a lot of us missed out on having a true childhood that was created in safety. And we grew up in environments where there was dysfunction and chaos. And there's no one to blame about that. That's actually a really beautiful thing. And I talked about this a lot in the Turn Pain into Purpose course. I'm not going to get into that because y'all already know where to find it if you want that. However, I will say this: in the next 3 to 5 years, Western medicine will not be able to handle the influx of diagnoses and cases and symptoms that are coming up, and they will not be able to offer answers. And so, in order for us to heal, we're going to have to do things that are different than the way the generations before us approached them. And we're going to have to use a combination of ancient technology and the future, and technology, the codes that are lying inside of our wombs waiting to be activated. They're activated when you interact with other women. That's how it's activated. And this is why religion and the patriarchy had to cut that out. So I'm going to be getting more into this in my school community, but I just wanted to give you all a synopsis of what's to come so that you can be preparing yourself. Don't put it off any longer. Start eating clean as possible. Start learning your blood type. Learn how to eat right for your blood type. Focus on your gut, your second brain, and your life will change.